Yesterday, we presented the evidence that Attorney General Jeff Sessions had lied about his knowledge of communications between Russian officials and the Trump campaign during the last election. And that lie importantly constituted a federal crime because it happened while he was under oath and testifying before the Senate. Now, this came out of some of the information from the George Papadopoulos indictment. And then we had the video of Al Franken talking with Jeff Sessions where he says he had no knowledge of communications despite the fact that he was the one who vehemently shut down that sort of discussion at a national security meeting back during the campaign. So it was interesting when it was revealed that through an intermediary, we learned that Sessions now recalls that he nixed the proposal for Trump and Putin to meet. Unfortunately, that source later clarified that it's unclear whether Sessions recalls nixing the Papadopoulos proposal for Trump-Putin meeting, though he did do so. So it's not immediately clear to me if that's a backtrack because of the reaction to Sessions saying, oh, I did actually remember that. And so now they seem to be trying to muddy the waters a little bit. I don't know if maybe he learned in the interim that that's actually a federal crime.
Hold on, let's put that statement, last graphic back up because it is wonderfully preposterous. Let's see it. Source clarifies, unclear whether Sessions recalls nixing the proposal, though he did do so. Wait, how does he know he did so if he doesn't recall it?
Yeah. Also, I'm not sure that that source knows what the word clarifies means.
He's like, no, look, that idea of Putin and Trump meeting, I spiked that, but I don't remember if I did. That makes no sense at all. And of course, the reason he's doing that is like, yeah, I'm the one that said he shouldn't meet with the Russians. So you see, I thought he shouldn't meet with the Russians. But that means I lied and perjured myself and hence can be thrown out of office. Yeah. I don't remember how awesome I was at making sure that that meeting didn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
And understand that this is not the first time that he's had a problem with his memory. He initially, during some of his early, this is back when he was trying to become the Attorney General, said that he had no contact. Then it was, okay, so I met with the Russian ambassador, but I didn't talk about the campaign. Then, I did meet with the Russian ambassador, and we didn't talk about interference. Would you believe that one? And so the goalpost kept moving. Now, Al Franken, who's the one who questioned him in the video we showed you yesterday, has responded to this new information, saying, once again, developments in the ongoing investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election have brought to light evidence that you, speaking to Attorney General Jeff Sessions there, failed to tell the truth about your interactions with Russian operatives during the campaign, as well as your awareness of Russian contacts by other members of the Trump campaign team. He also called it another example in an alarming pattern in which Sessions apparently failed to tell the truth under oath about the Trump team's contacts with agents of Russia. I am deeply troubled that this newest revelation strongly suggests that the Senate and the American public cannot trust your word. I don't understand why they would have in the first place, but that is a good point. And I think, and this is normally when I start with that tone of voice, I'm being sarcastic. I'm not. He needs to step down. Okay, he's repeatedly lied to the Senate during the process that got him the office he now holds about important information. Now look, he's on the older side. Maybe his memory is a little bit sketchy. But when you vehemently shut down discussion during one of the few high profile meetings of this group, no, I don't believe that you don't remember that. It was an idea that you thought was so terrible that you had to shut it down then, and then you forget about it.
And then you still want credit for doing it. It's preposterous.
I'll give you credit as you sit in jail. How about that? Get your cell, then I'll give you the credit.
Actual credit we should give is to Al Franken for doing a good job in that questioning. Great job there. And then look, if you don't recall, the Republicans think that lying under oath is one of the worst crimes and you should be immediately impeached for it. They impeached Bill Clinton for lying under oath.
Yeah.
So by their own standards, Jeff Sessions should impeach himself. Help us build independent media together. Come join us, tytnetwork.com/join.